there's a history about that, how they got it and so forth. So I told that to him, and Barbara Ross is the USDA World Development person that's been working with this on this whole project. She's retiring next week, the end of February. So I called her, she was out of the office, but I left her on her cell phone what I wanted to see if we could figure out a way to do that. So that's one, I guess there are 4 issues, that's one hit. The second is that we need I'll say one of Mary Ann's, but we need an easement for a piece of what used to be the Beaumont property where OO turns back toward Highway 13 after you come past Jeremy's house or Donna's house, and you go past the school going south, and then you go back east toward the road, toward the highway. There's a strip of land that needs to have an easement. The school owns it, the school board's aware of it. They're willing, I think you've made things so they can, so the lawyer's gonna write that up, legal description, and then I'll get it to folks. So that's one. Then for some reason, there's a few lots between between Chestnut, which is where the Christian church is, and between Walnut, which is where the Purple House is. Okay, so in that alley, behind Hiskett's or the Blue House where Stacy used to live,
everything around the main street.
the lots behind that, and one lot over on Stephen and Deanne Fisher where they have a garage there. And for some reason they believe that,
Those horse people stick together.
well, the information, they don't believe it, but the information that the architect has says that the sewer line and water line are too close together there, and there's a legal separation so they don't commingle, which is good, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But just for those lots, they need that. So we ironed out, looked it up, got all the deeds and all that stuff. So that's one. And then the other one is yours, from the pit, from the vault up, you know where that is, in the triangle lot right north of your property, the health store's property.
Right.
You and Diane, that's out of town, and right now the water line is in the road. And that's where they did it back then, when that's how they were going around the country doing
I know,
water
because
line.
I tied into it, and that's where we had to tie into
So
it.
now we need an easement for your property, because they don't put it in the roads anymore, to get permission for them to lay the lines there and have access to them if they should break or need repair and that kind of thing.
But between the property and the road, or?
No, from the vault, from the pit, from Triangle Lot, clear down to Diane's house, or Diane's lot, on your side of the road.
On my property, or on the easement there, not
Well, you'll give them, they're asking for a 20-foot easement.
20 foot from the center of the road, or?
No, from the edge of the road, 20 foot from the edge of the road. And that's so they can put their equipment on it and can dig the trenches and get access to it. You aren't actually, they're not going to encroach on it only when they're dealing with the water lines. And he's writing this all up, and I'll get it for you. But I thought since you were here, I would mention it to you, so you could be thinking about it. And
so is it a permanent easement, or is it just temporary for construction, or if they ever want to go on there again?
The one up there is a permanent 20-foot easement. What they want for the one in the alley over here is a 20-foot permanent and then a 50-foot temporary, so they can park their equipment on that. But there's some issues over here because there's a garage on Steve Fisher's, for example, and they can't go through the garage. And there's a fence, and they'll replace the fence and all that. But I mean, so the lawyer is aware of these issues now, and so is the engineer.
And I'd like to negotiate that myself too. I mean, for installation, and other than that, it's like, I mean, it's not like that road.
Well, it's so they can get into it if the water line breaks, and if they can't get easements, they're gonna have to go to the other side of the road, or which will raise the cost of the project and all that. So, the bids can go out until the easements are approved. I know that just because they're just now getting to this doesn't make it an urgency on your point, but
everything about it's an urgency. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I'll put it in there. I didn't know about it till now, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we just got that figured out today because we were still hoping they could do it and put it to the road because that's where it is now. And what they said was, what the lawyer said is, if we put it in the road, he would only advise they do that. Blah blah blah. Is if the township, they ever decided if they ever needed to move the water line, that it wouldn't be the Davies 2 who needed to move because it'd be very expensive, to move it someplace else. And he had an experience in Lake of the Ozarks where blah, 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 this thing happened. And I said, well, we're not exactly Lake of the Ozarks. And but that was his opinion today. So he's going to get those to me. As soon as I get them, I'll come talk with you about them and show you what they have. You can think about it. And if you need to call him, I'm just trying to expedite it. I'm not the master of anything other than trying to...
Good. Stand on top of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's my report on the water project. Kind of
thank you
lengthy,
very
but I
much.
want you to know what to do with. And Jim Cook and Jim Dooley have and Jay and Julie have all spent hours helping with the easements and figuring out the stuff, and it's just where really that is, so, you know, I give the report, but I'm not doing all the work, so I appreciate it. So thanks for that opportunity to tell you about it.
Okay, our financials, monthly financial report.
Yeah, I need the initial. And that. Because I don't have a set, so I can't tell you what we're
Do the initial.
So, that one right there on top, okay.
Right here on top.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good. The
Right on.
more I shuffle, the worse it gets. Thanks.
You're good.
All right, and we are, we have $4,338.58 in the account, which is not too bad at this time of the year. We also have received almost all of our, taxes. So, yeah.
That number is on this sheet somewhere?
Yeah, that's right.
She needs to, yeah, she needs to.
Show back where it is.
You've got your hand.
It says $4,000. Sorry, I can't help it, I can't see it. I'm not saying it's not
No, wait a second.
I
have it
right.
Says 43.
No,
No,
that-
that, the
this
other
says
one,
through
yeah.
January 15th.
This is the one you want first, okay? That's the general checking account. That's what we're talking about right now. And the figure we have is $4,338.58. Okay.
No, that sheet, no. You show me a $4,000 figure on that.
Oh,
I'll be happy.
well, this is because this is last month.
Okay,
That's not the right month.
okay, so Jen gave yours. Thanks, now I see it. It wasn't on there.
That's January.
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
So I'm happy.
I'm gonna try this one more time. We have $4,338.58. We've collected almost all of the taxes, so that's pretty much it, other than FEC and whatever we bring in on side events.
And so this amount doesn't include any of the FEC?
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
So,
We get that quarterly payment on FEC. Okay. So that's where that is.
so our total revenue from taxes is about,
I'll have to pull it up for you, but we
I mean, we
get
looked at it last time.
approximately about 2,700 because we pay a small percentage to the county for collection. And we were right around 3,000, so my guess is we probably on property and personal taxes about 2,700 if everybody pays.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Nothing new. We bought stamps. That was exciting.
Post office thinks so.
Yeah, but other than that, that's pretty much where we are with the general checking account. And then on the restricted funds on the road account, we paid Henry some for snow removal, and we paid back the village for property taxes out of that account for Henry's snow removal. Well, I take Henry's snow removal is out of road funds. And so the payroll taxes for that paycheck come out of the,
Not property taxes, payroll
right,
taxes.
payroll
You said
tax.
property.
Then yes, the payroll taxes come out of that also. So that's what the $4.59 is, that's the payroll taxes for Henry's. Oh, it's been a long,
Thank you. You're welcome. 200
So in the restricted funds account, we have $3,931.13, and I have a feeling Henry's gonna get a little bit more money this Saturday from the way things are building.
Taking that out now.
Huh?
You're taking all that out.
Can't beat the weather.
What station were you listening to? Because the one I showed massive snow coming our way. I need you to initial right here,
It
please.
said 1 to 2 inches.
Did they? Well, we'll see who's right on that. But anyway, so the road funds are slowly building back up. We're never going to have the amount we had in there at that one time because we just don't get that much in Floyd funds. We had that when we filed the FEMA reports and that helped us a lot, but we won't see those kind of numbers again. And we don't want to because that means we have a disaster FEMA, and we don't want to do that again either. So we will probably, if you average between about $350 a month coming out of the Floyd funds, take that towards June, and that's what we'll add on to our budget. So that's where we are on our financials. Monthly.
Do you want us to approve them?
I make the motion, we approve the Jameson general checking account and the restricted fund.
Wow. What? Happy 80th birthday.
Is that today?
No, it wasn't a couple weeks ago, but hey, you really have stepped up your game.
I'll second.
We had a good party,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Were you surprised?
She was really
Oh, yeah, I
surprised.
was surprised. Ask them.
She just stood there with her mouth open. Going, what?
Looking my thing.
That was second. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that was our.
Hi.
All right. The USDA audit has been mailed, so that will make Stan Wolf happy. That's for the sewer department. That's the one we're required to do every year by March the 1st. So, maybe that's Stan what you call him. I was going to have an amended budget for you, but the way the day had went and things were going, that did not occur, so other things took precedent. So that's not something we'll do. We'll do that at the next one, and that amended budget will be so that we can mail out those refunds. We need to amend the budget first, and I attempted to get it started, but we ran too many
Right,
times, so.
thanks. Yep.
Okay.
Jim, you and Jane have a water report?
I do not. I spoke with Wally, but it was about the new, not the old, so, and basically it was just stuff that Beth just talked about a minute ago with the easement, so.
No new customers, nobody got off.
What's your balance?
About
Yes, please.
$9,613.76.
Would you tell me one more time who lives in his kid's house? Their last name is Fisher. What's her first name? Or his?
Meyer, I think, something like that.
Okay, I got it. Thank you. Because that's what, I need to talk to the owner of that, but I'm sure the mentor will be interested, but that's up to them to talk about it.
Wow. Anybody else?
I just
Can we go around the table?
Everybody's doing everything.
I should have brought some silver and sprayed in the air or disinfectant.
Y'all just keep it on that table.
Yeah.
Sewer report?
I'll bet you my citrus.
Jim and I are gonna do this together. I will read what
Assassin.
Jason sent me. And then Jim will talk about the lift station. And you'll see in your packet, there's a copy of Jason's letter and also a service contract that we need to discuss. Jason said, I received a call from Laura Adams. He's the guy that worked on the small lift station for the village. He was worried that at the small lift station, one, if the pumps would not turn on after changing the alternating switch. The pump needs to be put into working order. It is pricey, but it is better than paying a fine to DNR for raw sewage on the ground or having to run a pump while both pumps need to be repaired if the working pump breaks down. The board needs to be aware of this problem, have it repaired, and you can also put the village on a preventative maintenance program so this never happens again. Any questions?
And how much is pricey?
Well,
That's where Jim's gonna take it.
Okay, excuse me.
I didn't bring it down.
Which pump lift station is the, when you say the small one?
It's the one
Small
down here,
one.
which is the one down here.
Just
The little one.
south of you?
Yeah. Okay, let's see what it is.
Is this what we're talking about, Jim?
That's the contract. That's the preventative maintenance.
There it is. Okay, they was here last month. We have a few problems down there, and they got a bill for $523.62. Okay, looks like they charge about $115 an hour, and they get they charge $150 for mileage, 120 miles. And that switch he replaced was $138.77.
Wow.
So that stuff, that electronic stuff.
something a mile.
But probably if it's fixed, then we keep it maintained, we won't
Right.
have that
they've been spent all.
But I thought he was talking about having a, so it has been, so when he wrote on February 12th, that it needs to be put into working order. It is in working order.
No.
Oh, it's still not in working
One
order.
pump is,
Okay,
one pump's working, one pump isn't.
okay.
That's
And-
why you had to buy this alternating switch here and put it in there, so it goes from one side to the other
Okay.
side.
So how much does it cost to put the other one in working order? The same amount as it took that one?
No,
Okay.
we're gonna have to pull the pump out, cause
Yeah. Do we have an estimate how much that costs? And do we have money in the account to pay for it? I guess is where I'm headed.
well, I don't know, he hadn't, Eddie's got the,
Estimate?
You all have one in your packet too.
It's just
That's
the,
maintenance
it's just the
agreement.
maintenance agreement though.
Right.
I tell you,
On the maintenance agreement, he's got down there, if you look down at the bottom,
Right.
there's a, basically, rate schedule. We have the duplex, control panel for $480,
That's what we have.
yeah.
yeah. That's a little one, a big one too.
And then there's,
But we only have,
This is what we're talking about. huh?
this is just what it costs to maintain it.
right, this is.
Per pump?
We don't have,
Per pump?
It's right here.
no, right here, where it says the duplex, the two pumps with the control panel.
Okay, but we only
Maintenance.
have one pump. I wanna know how much it's gonna cost us to
No, no,
get two.
well, you mean for the big lift station? I'm not clear.
The
I
big-
thought the question he was saying is you need to get them both working.
Right, but
How much does it cost to get
there's
the other one
two,
working?
there's two pump, at the small lift station, there are two pumps.
Okay,
And that's what Jim was just telling you, the duplex, two pumps with a control panel
yep,
is $480 for maintenance, on a maintenance maintenance.
for maintenance, right.
Right.
And
We don't
are
have-
both of those working?
No,
No, only one is working. We don't have an estimate to repair the broken pump. That's what we
we're
have to get
waiting on
next.
to get this, thing signed so we can do something.
Get the maintenance agreement signed?
He won't come out and fix it without us signing the maintenance agreement?
I don't think so.
Came out and fixed this one?
No, I realize that, but it's kind of an emergency, see. I
So
don't
he
know.
wants us to sign a maintenance agreement.
Without knowing how much it's gonna cost to fix?
Or will this $480 cover it no matter what?
No, I don't think so.
Plus, remember, we have mileage on top of that.
Mileage and.
But this, the pump, there might be something wrong with the pump. That's just, I think that's just maintenance, that $480.
That's what it looks to me like too.
Yes, that's what
So
we're-
is there a set amount of time that he comes to do the maintenance and then it'll cost us that? Or do we have to call him to come do maintenance?
I think it's scheduled maintenance, is what
Yeah.
Jason had said, so then, the board needs to be, and you can also put the village on preventative maintenance program, so, which means they would come and
That's
reevaluate.
regular.
That's what this is. This is a service maintenance
So
agreement.
I'm in favor of solving the problem. I'm not clear on what action it takes to do that. If we sign a maintenance agreement for him to come for two working pumps, and we don't have two working pumps, that seems like a waste of money to me. But if he's not gonna come fix the pump until he has a maintenance agreement, that doesn't sound like very good business from our end.
Why don't we do this? Why don't I get in touch with Jason, you get in touch with Jason and tell him we can't take any action until we have an estimate on how much we pay for the broken pump. We have to take care of that first
Yeah.
before we can go into any type of agreement on a scheduled maintenance.
Okay.
So he needs to give us an estimate of how much it costs to get both pumps up and running properly. And then from there, the board can address a maintenance schedule. Okay?
And do you think that the not Jason person, but the one who's offering this is gonna say, well, I'm gonna charge you like a quarter of a mile to come out here and tell you? Because he didn't look at it when he was here before.
Yeah, he worked on it.
He worked on the one that's working now. Did he work on the one that isn't
He worked
working?
on the one that was,
So he should be able to give us an estimate without another trip.
yeah.
Okay. And not what she said, I'm for what she said.
Yeah.
The problem is there's nobody in the area. The other man we had come out when the big lift station went down, he came from, was it Macon? Where was it?
I think so,
I mean, there's nobody in our area.
Right, and I'm not sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, that's why we end up having to pay these horrific travel fees,
Yeah.
is because there isn't anybody in our area
yeah.
that
That guy used,
services these pumps.
that guy used to do it here, but years ago.
Right,
He
that's,
used to serve.
Marceline, where did he come from? I think it
One of
was
those M-words.
Well,
Yeah,
and
like
like,
Emily's.
well, I mean, and like that $480 for the duplex pumps, is that per year, per,
Yeah, that's what I was.
I mean,
wondering.
For service.
per
Because I don't wanna do
service,
that
or, I mean,
every other month,
No.
because that would be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
well,
No, I,
it's like, yeah.
I mean,
Let's start with that.
Got a lot more
Let's go
specifics.
ahead
yeah,
and
we need more information on
get
that.
that estimate and hope that it maintains itself till March.
Yeah, because this doesn't say
Let me
annual
ask-
maintenance agreement, it
yeah,
just says
let-
maintenance agreement.
Once we get an estimate, if we call and give you what the estimate is, it has to be fixed no matter what. So I guess what I'm asking is, do you want to hold off and hope the pump keeps, the problem, the way Jim explained it to me, is if we're running a risk of burning out the pump that's working because it's doing double duty.
I agree, we gotta fix it.
So, either way, it has to be fixed, whether he charges us another $500 or he charges us $1,500, we have to fix the pump.
I mean, I got
So-
5,000 in there now.
I guess what I'm asking is, once Jim gets the estimate and we talk about it, are you guys, we can tell you what the estimate is, and are you okay with saying to go ahead and do that, or do you wanna hold off and delay it until the March meeting?
if we get it from Jim, the estimate and
Yeah,
everything,
well, Jim will get the estimate, and,
then we should go ahead.
and
We're gonna
then,
have to do it either way.
right,
Yeah.
but if you wanna know what the estimate is, or do you wanna hang on until the March meeting? I would be concerned only, like I said, it's running.
Well, I would say get the estimate, but if it's over the amount,
Well,
then we
yeah,
have the
obviously,
fund,
no,
wait till the
then we
meeting,
have-
because we gotta
yeah,
figure out where it's
No,
coming
yeah.
from.
Yeah,
That'd
well,
be
if he
my
gives us,
suggestion.
if he gives us a $4,000 estimate, we'll call the guy back in the M City, wherever it was, and see what he says. I don't think we paid $500 for him to work on the big pump. I don't remember, do you? On the big lift station. I mean, if it's astronomical,
Yeah, that's just,
yeah.
we have
Yeah.
responsibility to keep it running and to pay
Yeah.
for it, and to get out of
That
sequence.
means to be able to do
Yeah,
that.
right, so something else has to give in our budget.
So
Okay,
are you
Are there four,
good with that?
are there 4 homes on that? Is that all?
All right, and that's what we'll do. Jim will talk to him and get the
it's just
estimate.
still gotta
On
get
the
it.
little
And
one.
then we'll let
We
you
could
know what
put a
it is. so that-
moratorium on how much we,
Anything else on the sewer? Jim?
save your dishwater.
Now you're getting
Your
gross,
bathwater.
Mary.
Hang on,
See?
let me plug this. And we'll notify you what it is. Okay. One of the things that I wanted to talk about while we're talking about the sewer system and money, when all is said and done with the water system and whatever may be left, I highly recommend that you consider funding the sewer system at a higher level, taking some of whatever is left in the water accounts and putting it into account, make it a general account, but in mind, keep it there to back up the sewer system. We have the debit account and we have the depreciation and replacement account. Like I said at the last meeting, we're almost funded on one, it's gonna take us a little while longer to fund the other. I would recommend you fund those and make Stan Wolf happy, get the $7,000 in there. And then he will be happy for the rest of his life. And then I would highly recommend as your financial officer that you consider putting some of that money aside for this type of a situation. Jim has told me time and time again, we have been very fortunate with these pumps. We have had minimal amount of problems with them, but they're not going to do that forever. And even if you do, like an account, like open an account with a sum of money, and then do like we did with the water department and take 100 out of the regular sewer account each month and put it aside. Don't label it, because you never know when you might need it for something else, and if you label it sewer, you're gonna be stuck with it being sewer, but call it a contingency account.
Like a savings
Yeah,
account
exactly,
pretty much.
and fund that sewer department. You don't wanna raise, and you shouldn't, and we can't, raise the sewer rates, but I will tell you truthfully, if Stan Wolf doesn't like the audits, he's going to call and he's going to demand that you raise the sewer rates again. Because that's what he does, and that's how we got in trouble the last time. So, again, it's a recommendation, do with it what you will, but I highly push for it, that a chunk of money be put aside specifically for contingencies on that sewer project. What's your balance in the sewer fund?
$5,738.
Even?
87 cents.
Okay, clerk hiring.
I think I asked for that to be on there, you know,
Okay.
tick-tock, tick-tock, I can give you the calendar, but it has to be done in the April meeting. After, which is that, yeah, it's April 7th, and I think the 18th, I'm printing off this calendar since the date, and so, what I handed out is for you to look at, and Lucille Lusk has helped me look at this, and she gave me a general template, and then I looked at our ordinances and plugged in the things. And it's kind of lengthy, but I think if we're hiring somebody, they ought to know what we're asking them to do. And we're asking them to do all this stuff, and so maybe more, at least they see more things that aren't on this list, so I'd like for us to look at that. And then I also gave you what I, again, just tried to move things along, the clerk form, application form, looks like it's got purple writing at the top, it's Jameson Clerk, Phyllis Jameson. And again, this was a combination effort between Lucille and I, and it's not, I'm bringing it here for it to be edited, just, I don't see this as a finished product, but just to have a starting point for the conversation to get some action done, I think. So, and then I think we need to talk about a process and a timeline, you know, are we gonna ask for applications and get them, and then is the whole board gonna, interview everybody, or we're gonna look at the list and winnow them down to a smaller number and then interview them, you know, what's the timeline?
Opinions?
And I think if there are people out there that we think would make good candidates, we're not offering them the job, but we need to make sure that people who would be interested get these applications in their hands and the information.
How do we know who will be entered?
I don't think you do know, I mean,
You're gonna have to post it on the
Say,
website.
don't you have
To post it on the website.
yeah,
Well,
well,
it has to be posted in the paper.
No, but maybe also like
Yeah,
on the
well,
website, so
It is
Right.
mandated that we put it.
help wanted.
yeah, and in the window and all that. So I don't know if you'd like to look at this right now, or, and I don't know that I need to be in charge of this, I'm just saying we need to move.
Be ready.
Yeah. Well, I would like a time to go over this and look at it, since I haven't seen it yet, but I can tell you right now that the utilities do not belong to my position as clerk. The utilities belong to Jim, and he maintains the data information and collects the utility fees and takes the deposits.
That's why I want people to look at it, that's good, that's,
And where
The monthly billing. Under utilities, that's all under the sewer and water.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So we really don't need to be able
No,
to do
that is not, as it stands right now, it depends on what you decide to do, but those are Jim's jobs. Now, that being said, the clerk of the village oversees the utility and clerk, sewer, water.
yeah, that's what I think that, okay. so
Right,
needs to say that.
and is responsible for the payroll deposits and the
Yeah.
USDA's audit, all those kind of things.
So if you can think of wording for that, that would be helpful, that would cover
Okay.
those things and not cover the things that
Right,
aren't.
those are all.
I don't know what I don't know, so.
Right, yeah. So I think it would be really time consuming to go through this tonight. I
Right, I
haven't taken
agree.
a look at it, so.
look at it and address it at the next meeting. Is that all right with everyone?
Do you think that's a time? Yeah, we're talking March.
Well,